Guys, welcome back to season 2 of another episode of It's a Man's World. I am on literally the other side of the world over in Sydney with Zoe, and I'm so excited for this episode. Get out your pens and paper. I want to make sure that you're thinking, you're writing, you're really kind of delving into what we're going to talk about, because this is going to relate to anyone and everyone. And I want Zoe to kind of introduce herself and what she does from your professional standpoint as well. Obviously, we are very good friends. We've had a lot of history as well over the last year or two of our journeys as well. And today, I don't really want to touch on more of Zoe's background. I want to touch on more of her professional and what she does, and also how far and what's changed in your life as well, because alignment is something that a lot of people are hearing lately, and I do think that it will help so many people, especially if they're feeling kind of what you're feeling, because things do naturally go against you when you're not aligned with something. So if you want to just explain kind of who you are, what you do, and what your professionalism is.
Yes, so hi everyone, thanks for watching. Delighted to be here over in Sydney, having Ciara over the side of the world with me for a short period of time. But yeah, my name is Zoe. I'm a mindset coach. I have been coaching now for 5 years. I basically teach my clients how to control their thoughts, control their emotions, communicate more effectively, and help with things like anxiety and performance in their career as well. I suppose I first met Ciara, I suppose we really got to know each other really in Dubai.
In Dubai, yeah. And we were both in totally different positions.
Yes, very much so. And alignment, I suppose, is the word there that you used. And for me, alignment was definitely something that I was very much out of in Dubai. So I used to live in Dubai, now I'm living in Sydney. And for me, when I was in Dubai, everything, I felt like the universe was conspiring.
It was.
To get me. It was literally couldn't catch a break, was struggling to get an apartment, would get an apartment, the apartment I get would flood. It felt like everything was going against me. And now, upon reflection, I was out of alignment. The universe was telling me these things of, okay, look, maybe it's time to move on. You are out of alignment. And I think why things started to go so wrong is because I was actually pushing back against things. I wasn't in alignment with my values. I wasn't actually prioritizing me. I wasn't actually prioritizing things that I love. I had just kind of got caught up in things that weren't very much me. And I think, look, it's a lesson to learn. For sure. If I feel like I'm out of alignment now with my values again going forward, to actually just really check in with myself. A client said to me the other day, and I thought this was such a funny phrase, have a cup of cop on. Have a cup of cop on for yourself and take a look at yourself. I was like, okay, I'm stealing that. I absolutely love that phrase. But just keep yourself in alignment with your values. And look, your values are always going to change over time. Yeah. They're meant to. If your values are always the same, maybe you're not growing. Maybe, that's a whole different kettle of fish. But I think keeping, checking in with yourself on a regular basis to avoid things like that happening in Dubai is one of the greatest ways really to constantly remain connected to yourself and live a happy life, a life of value, which is the most important thing really.
Exactly. And when you say if someone's I don't really know what I value, how do you distinguish and how do you really pinpoint? Because for me, I didn't really know what my values were. Obviously, say 2-3 years ago, I was kind of my values obviously were totally different, and they do change as you grow, and it's okay for them to change as well. And that was something that I found hard to accept. And also, you can't expect someone else's values to be the same as yours. Mm-hmm. That was where my kind of thing was as well. What I was so strong about, someone else isn't, and that's okay, because it's what you're focusing on. But how would someone really kind of pinpoint what their values are? Because I'm sure there's probably a lot of you people that are listening saying, well, I don't even know what I value.
Mm-hmm. A couple of things I would say to people, and as Ciara said at the start, guys, if you don't have a pen and paper out, go and get a pen and paper now, because I'm going to be dropping a lot of knowledge bombs for you, and it's going to be all action based. So if you don't know what your values are and you really want to figure out what they are, I would say if you could literally, to the people that are single, this is actually a very good one. Woo. If you could literally describe your ideal partner, and you could literally get a computer, you could put all their values into a computer, and you could pick somebody, all those values, right? Realistically, everything that they value, everything that you write, they are the things that you actually value in your life, right? They're the things that you actually want, because let's just say if you are writing down your ideal partner and you're writing down things that they value, and you're writing down you want them to be fit and healthy, then you value health and fitness, so it's just it's a really good way to, quickly figure out your values. Or, you know, if you have kids and you wanted to, you know, be able to pick out their values, you know, and you could, as I said, get a computer, input them all into a computer, what would those values be? And just another quick one as well is if you were to look, say if you were 80 years old and you were looking back on your life and you were to think, okay, what would I wish I'd done more of? Whatever you write there, they're your values, you know? Yeah, and like, as Ciara said as well, like, we're all different people. We're not going to have the same values, you know? And I think it's a massive mistake we all make. We seem to think that we should all set the same goals all the time.
Yeah.
And why would we all set the same goals when we all want different things? We all value different things. So if, you know, Mary down the road buys a car with, you know, buys the brand new Range Rover with cash, right? Great for Mary. I'm sure it's a lovely car and everything. But if you value, we'll say, your health, your family and your freedom, right? But in order for you to get to that goal of being able to buy the fancy Range Rover, the fancy car, you have to work 80 hours under the sun. You're going to basically take yourself through your own version of hell because you're not in alignment with your values, which are freedom. You're not going to be free because you're working all the time. Your health is going to deteriorate because you're working all the time, and your relationships are going to deteriorate because you're working all the time. So therefore, you'll end up failing with that goal, feeling like a failure, but you aren't the failure, you've just set the wrong goal.
Yeah, and you're unsure.
Exactly.
And that's where knowing yourself on a deeper level of like
Exactly.
how important the value is and what you want. It's important to know what you want. And they say it's all right to know what you don't want. But I mean, like, you're on a self-discovery journey of like, if you don't really have an idea, it's like you need to go a little bit deeper into what you want. What is it what way do you want to live? Because we all have reason, purpose, and it's like you have to be able to visually see what you want to do. And I think what you're talking about, say for example, if we're talking about exterior things, like talk about the car, talk about the money, like those things on the outside that people think make them really happy. When they get it, they say, I actually don't really feel that much from it. And then there's a little bit of disappointment, and it's like, was what I was working towards, is it not worth it? What's missing? The thing that's missing is probably you. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you really stand for. Like, you haven't probably got the right people in your life, and that's why it's so important, I think, for people, and obviously as mentor as well, and as coaches, like, to understand what the client wants and what their goal is. If someone's unsure, you cannot get them to that point because they physically, personally, and developed wise won't be able to do it. And that's why people get so frustrated, because they can't keep up. So like, maybe for someone that's listening now, like, how important is it for someone that's like, if they say no, but that is what I want, but what if they get it and then they don't feel like that?
I suppose it's actually, sometimes that's actually a good thing.
Okay.
Because you're going to learn from it. Like, you're going to actually go, okay, you know what, that's actually not for me. And it's going to get you to reassess, because I've been there. Like, I remember actually this time last year, hitting a goal and feeling nothing. Just like that feeling of being like, oh. And for me, what really happened was, I remember it was the weekend. I remember there was I think it was the Dubai Sevens was on. And I remember just having like nobody to celebrate the goal with, and I remember just feeling kind of like an element of emptiness, and that for me really, really highlighted just how important it is for me to have people around me that I love.
Yeah.
It was just like a smack in the face, like, see, you got that goal and you weren't happy because you didn't have anyone to celebrate it with, you know. And it was like, oh. So sometimes it's actually it's a great lesson. Like, it's a great way of actually understanding, you know what, you know, I went for that goal, I actually got it, I kind of felt like that element of emptiness, and you learn from it. Like, everything's a lesson, you know. And for me then, that was one of the big moments where I was like, okay, maybe that then is why I need to leave Dubai and come to some place where I have a lot of friends here, friends that are so good that I would class them as family, you know. And that's a big thing for me. So if I didn't have that, you know, if I didn't hit the goal but then have that low period after hitting the goal, would I have made the decision then to come here? And now this is very much my happy place. Yeah. Maybe not. So, you know, it's like a great take lessons from the low moments, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. It's like everything that happens to you happens for you.
100%.
And it's hard to see that at the time because you're so deflated. You're like, oh my God, how is this happening to me? And you victimize yourself straight away. But it's like, I always say, like, when the worst thing in the world is happening to me, is this happening to me like for a reason? Like, was that meant to happen to me for some weird reason? Like, what is it? And I'll always question it, I'll always ponder on it. And that's why now, like, talking about values there, let's look at, like, say, a relationship type of value. Everyone's like, what's your type now? And like, there's going to be so many people that are listening that are like, oh my God, are you single? Yes, I am. Number two, what do you value? What do you want to go for? And I'm like, I don't really know. I know the qualities and the things that I want, of course. That's like a really big thing, and that's like my personality. It's my aura, you know, like I know what I want. But in terms of like what I thought on the outside I wanted someone that was like a bodybuilder. Like they wouldn't be able, like very pretentious things that I wanted, which was the wrong thing. And now I'm like, I don't really know. It could be a little yogi head turning upside down on his head. Like, it could be that I'm
I know.
That's how much everything has changed. And I'm open to that because, like, I'm open to myself, and I've really kind of grown as a person over the last while. But I think for another topic that just came there to me that I'd love to touch on, like self-esteem and confidence, like the word self-esteem, what is it?
So a lot of people think confidence and self-esteem is the same thing. They're very similar, but we work on them completely differently, okay? So like if you have like, the way I like to explain it is like confidence is the practical, right? So let's just use the gym as an example, right? So if you want to get confident at squatting, right, what do? You need to go and squat, right? And you go in, you learn the form, you learn the technique, you start with body weight, you put on the bar, 2.5 each side, etc., right? And that's how your confidence goes up. But confidence is a continuous thing. Let's just say squatting is on your program for, 6 months, you're squatting all the time, your confidence is sky high then at squatting, right? But then you get a new training program, it's not on your training program anymore, you don't squat for another 6 months, then you go back to try and squat again, your confidence is low, right? So confidence is the doing, it's the action. You have to earn confidence. You can't just wake up one day and be like, wow, I'm really confident at squatting without squatting. You have to go and do the thing in order to be confident at the thing. But self-esteem then is the other side of it, right? Self-esteem is the theory, okay? So you have the practical versus the theory. And how we work on our confidence, it's our opinion of ourselves, right? So if you hold a low opinion of yourself, you've low self-esteem. If you hold a high opinion of yourself, it's high self-esteem. So if you want to improve your self-esteem, you need to really understand what your opinion is of yourself, who you identify as, what labels you've given yourself, like what you tell yourself you are, who you tell yourself you are. I'll never be this, I'll never be that, I'll always be this person, I'll never be that type of person. All of those things matter. It works massively off our inner narrative. So if you want to have a high level of self-esteem, you need to understand who you are telling yourself you are, who you identify as, those labels, those tiny little throwaway comments that you say, oh, like, I'm an overthinker. The amount of people that say that to me, I'm an overthinker. I'm like, stop telling yourself you're an overthinker because you'll overthink.
Yeah.
You'll be it. I know for myself, I identified as I'm stupid. I had a teacher pass a comment to me in primary school, and I was like, oh, okay, I must be stupid if an adult is telling me that. I was quite young. So I ran with that, and I just became that because if I'm telling myself I'm stupid all the time, I'm not going to try in exams. I'm not going to put myself out there because I'm going to embarrass myself in my mind because I'm stupid. So I was like, I'm not going to try. So I stopped trying in school. And of course, I became stupid then because I wasn't trying. And then that became my reality. I got 90 points in my Leaving Cert, was on the dole for a while, wasn't amounting to anything because I was like, I am stupid. And then eventually I started thinking, okay, I'm going to start challenging this. And, I became aware of, what I was telling myself, and I changed the inner narrative, changed my identity. And now I identify as somebody who is quite intelligent. I mightn't be textbook smart, good at, numbers. Numbers is definitely not my thing, but I'm so smart in so many other ways. And I think that's just a perfect example, and I think with confidence and self-esteem, it's like, I use like a flower as an example. So like, everyone sees the beautiful flower, everyone sees the confident person because that's the external thing.
Yeah.
But the flower can only bloom when the roots are healthy, and it all stems from the roots. Like you cannot possibly flourish in life and be this confident person and be doing the things and be the ballsy person that you really want to be unless those roots, which is your self-esteem, is really strong. And like, the cycles of life, you'll have the summertime, springtime, when the flowers are blooming, when you're thriving in life and you're in great shape and da da da. And then you might go through, your winter period where you're not in as amazing shape, or you mightn't be, confidence mightn't be high self, massive amount of self-worth and everything. You mightn't be unbelievably in a great headspace in terms of confidence, but as long as the roots are there, that confidence will flourish again, that flower will bloom again. And that's how you have to start thinking about it. Focus on your self-esteem and the confidence will start to take care of itself. If you focus only on your confidence, you probably hit a brick wall a lot.
Yeah, I love that. That analogy is lovely.
Yeah,
I love that. Yeah, it's really nice. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm robbing that. But it's like your true authentic self will always shine through. Yeah. So if you're not confident physically, you can put on a show, because when you get out into the real world, you see people and they're like, I come across like a lot different online, and you're like, why though? Mm-hmm. Like, and that's why I'm so great. I don't get hate or anything like that, because I'm who I am.
Yeah.
I don't put a front on. I don't put a face on. I think staying true to yourself is so important. And I think what you were saying about the seasons and things changing, but like look at like the true essence of something. A rose can never be a daisy. A daisy can never be a tulip. It cannot change. So it's like you have to be who you are born to be in this world. Like a rose is a rose. It physically cannot change into anything else. Mm-hmm. So how can you try and do that to yourself? And why? Also ask yourself, why do you try and do that to yourself? Like, why do you want to? Is it because someone has said maybe your partner would love you if you were like this, or if you dyed your hair this color? It's like, but does that make you happy? You going to college to please your family? Is that people pleasing? Like, there's a lot of different things. And like, this might sound a little bit deep to maybe someone that's listening, and maybe you're getting your cardio done right now and they're probably thinking, oh God, like this is hitting me hard with some things that are coming through. But I think confidence is like, it's easier said than done. Like, what would your steps be for someone that's like, because I get a lot of girls and they're like, oh no, I'm rotten. Like, I'm rotten. No, oh my God, my lower stomach. And I'm like, girl, you're so beautiful. Like, I look at people from their soul. I don't look at my clients from the outside. Health and everything, absolutely. Like, if someone is overweight, there is like a push and a pull. And it's like, we need to sort this out because it's going to affect you. But like deeper than that, like how does someone, without talking externally, work on their confidence and their internal self?
Mm-hmm. I would definitely, like, self-awareness is the most important thing of all. Like, we can't just take our car to the garage and be like, right, fix that, how much will it be? Like, the mechanic has to literally look at what's going on, like yes. what's causing the problem, and really understanding, like we call it like root cause analysis, like what's actually causing things. So like, what are you telling yourself? Like, looking at your environment, people, places, things, like, are you being triggered by things? Are you in friendship groups where, this is always an example I use because I think so many people can relate to this. Friendship circles, like if you're out with your friends, if you get up from the table, are you nervous that you're going to be the topic of the conversation? If you are in an environment like that, if you're at a table like that, please leave that table.
Run,
genuinely, because your anxiety is probably never going to go if that's the environment that you're in. Your confidence is never going to improve if that's where you're in, because like, well, how would it? Like, how is it? Like, if you're living in like a fear mentality there, like, so I would definitely say like understanding yourself a lot more, like really getting to know yourself. Okay. Really doing work, like beginning to like catch yourself with those negative thoughts. And I know definitely Irish people will struggle with this a lot. Beginning to change the narrative to things that are more positive, right? So affirmations, in my opinion, are one of the most overlooked tools in personal development. I think they can be absolutely groundbreaking. They can completely transform things. But as Irish people, again, have the cup of cop on for yourself. Why would you look in the mirror and tell yourself you're beautiful? That's so embarrassing. That's so cringe.
Yes.
There's a massive thing like that, and obviously you being in America, like they love all that. They're so much more open to stuff like that, and it's amazing. And they have so much. Yeah, there you go, exactly. Like, because they're more willing to do that. Like, and people are very quick to be like, no, I couldn't do that. Please, you're never going to be able to do that if you tell yourself that. First of all, you can do it. Just give it a go. Like, honestly, who gives a shit? Like, I say this to my clients a lot. Like, they're like, oh my God, Zoe, I can't do that. And I'm like, first of all, you can. Please stop saying that you can't.
Yeah.
Second of all, the only person in the world that is going to know that you're telling yourself that is me. Like, because I'm literally saying to you to do it, you know? I'm like, who cares? Like, who actually gives a shit? Like, I think we have this kind of like mentality of almost like, we can be a little bit too cool for things. I think
gonna
at times.
say we're not cool for shit like that.
Like,
yeah.
we're like, oh my God, like that's so embarrassing. But believe me, I would rather be uncool and happy and anxiety free, at peace and fulfilled, than cool and unhappy, filled with dread, anxious in my life any day of the week. Like, any day of the week, genuinely.
Sign me up. Me too, 100%. And it's until you've walked in that feeling, and maybe you're listening now and you're like, shit, that's me. Like, I feel like that. That's when you know you need to change. And it's like, if you're starting to get that little bit of a weird feeling in your stomach and you're starting to feel it, you know. But affirmations.
Oh yeah.
Okay, right. I've got my journal over there every day. 3 affirmations, and sometimes I go 4 or 5. Like, I am beautiful, I am loved. And like, I asked my friend one time, I was like, what are you writing? And he was like, and I was like, why are we so? And then he was like, call out what you're doing. And for me, like, I was writing it, but I got so vocally stuck in saying it that I was like, I am loved. And I was like getting cringed, and I was like, what am I doing? And then I was like, wait. And then I was like, I am beautiful. And then I started saying it, like, I'm loved, I'm healthy. And like now I just like shout it, because I'm just like, it's like the vocal thing was hard for me, because like I never used to put up my hand. I used to be scared that my answer wasn't good enough or it was wrong because they were smarter in the class than me and blah, blah, blah. Even though they probably weren't, but they done more study, which made them a little bit smarter with a higher grade. I didn't. If you don't put the work in, don't expect the result.
Exactly.
So it was like, it wasn't that I wasn't smart enough, it was that I chose to go a dancing route, or like with my job or whatever. But they say that like with the affirmations as well, and also strong knowing and strong self, that if you stand in front of the mirror, completely butt naked by the way, look at every single like literally everything on your body, and if you can stand there and not pull yourself apart and say like, I fucking love myself, I am a sexy bitch right now, that's when you know you've done it.
Yeah.
And I done it for the first time after I went to the Awaken event, and obviously I'm very connected. I was after doing a lot of breath work, and I left it like 2 weeks, and I was like, God, I have to go back and I'm going to try it again. And I was like, ooh, like felt a little bit anxious going into doing it. And I literally stood there and I was like, oh my God. And like, when you don't pull yourself apart, and it's not because I've got a great body or anything like that, it's genuine like love from like a pure part of your heart, that when you get to that level, I'm telling you people, it's the best feeling ever. Isn't it?
100%.
It's just like that knowing, and like, yeah, we're human, by the way. You'll always pinpoint something on yourself, and you'll have days where your flaws come out, or like my skin's breaking out when I'm traveling, and I'll say it. And I'm like, I'm human. I'm allowed to say them things. I'm allowed to feel. I'm allowed to have those emotions. But I love me. It's like so deeply.
That's the thing. And I think it's so funny, right? Because you were able to do that now. Like, so how long ago was that? That was like
3 months ago, maybe 6 bit longer.
So it's like, I wonder, like around like the time of you competing.
Oh no, I couldn't.
Yeah.
And you know what else?
And it's funny because you were in better shape then, because you were obviously competing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
so
I was
it's like
in
you
the
think
best
you'd have
shape.
more love for yourself then.
I remember putting on my bikini, right? And I will leave the link below, right? But I remember putting on my bikini, the one that arrived, and I was about 3 weeks out, and Jade was like, Kira, like, oh my God, I can't. And I remember being in the bedroom putting it on, and I was like, this is too tight. And I was like, I need to lose around just my belly a little bit more, and then I'll be good. Or like, it's a bit tight in my back. I look back on that video. Oh my God. I was like a horse. My teeth looked humongous because my face was so small. I was like a little rake. I felt nothing. Like, and I'm not taking away from prep, because it was a challenge. I learned a lot about myself along the way, the discipline and the determination that I did have going, and what I've taken on after that was amazing. But also looking back, I'm like, I basically think I got on stage, one, because I never wanted to have regret, of course, and I wanted a challenge, and I've always seen people, and I've always been bodybuilding basically since a young age, like, so I can say hand on heart, it wasn't just because of that. Number two, it was because when I was in a relationship, obviously with Josh, he was bodybuilding, and like he had like girls that were doing shoots, and they were like really shredded. And for me, I was like, I need to be better than his clients, because I thought he loved his clients more than me.
Yeah.
And that's hard. And then when I look back, I was like, did I do prep for the right reasons? And then when I spoke to my coach, he was like, Kira, like, you've always been doing this. Of course you did. And I'm like, I did when I got to you, but like, I didn't start prep for the right reasons.
Yeah.
I started prep for the external feeling of like, if I can do this, and if I am being coached underneath his wing and his control and better than his clients and this and that, like, he'll love me more.
It'll prove a point. But again, you learned so much from it though.
Like,
so
look
it's
at
like
me now.
everything, yeah. So
Now I'm
everything
like,
happens like
everything
exactly as
happens
it
for
should.
a reason, like, and it's just like everything that you go through is like, you look back and you're like, shit, like that made me realize so much about myself, and I wouldn't take any of it back. Everything that's happened to me, I'm like, I wouldn't take any of it back.
That's the thing.
I love it. Like, thank you for that.
That's the thing, like, because I know even last year, or actually I was like peak week last year for my photo shoot in Dubai, and I was like 48 kilos. Like, I'm a small girl. I'm 5'1". Well, we're about the same height.
We're just small people.
Literally two nannies, and like tiny, but like wouldn't have had love for myself at that time.
Wow.
Like I did before that, but again, because I was out of alignment with my values, no matter what I looked like, I wasn't happy because I was out of alignment with my values. And it's like, that's how much being out of alignment will impact you. You can do all the things, because that's the thing, like, no matter what goal you set, no matter what goal you achieve, no matter where you go, no matter who you're with, no matter what you look like, no matter what size dress you wear, what number on the scale, if your mindset is not in a good place, it does not matter. Like, it does not matter.
And question, why do people not want to change their mindset?
I think a lot of the time it can be that element again of like I suppose it's nearly like an ego thing of like, I'm too cool, I don't need to, and I think there can be, a lot of the time there can be judgment. Like I know there's probably be people out there that, judge me and you, they might think that we're cringe, putting the stuff that we put up online, speaking about the things online and stuff like that. And look, realistically, people do judge, and that's fine, I'm kind of accepting of that. Like, but I think like people pass their jealousy off as judgment because they're a bit ashamed to admit that they're actually jealous. So like, when you're jealous of something, it's because you actually want it. Like, you're never jealous of something that you don't want. Like, that's what jealousy is, right? And like jealousy or envy, it's a great way to figure out what you want. But a lot of the time, people don't want to admit that they're jealous of somebody because they can put themselves out there, or, oh my God, they're confident now, they've put in the work, look at them living the life, out here in Sydney or in Miami, that way. So people are like, I'm not jealous of them. Say to them, they think that they're judging them. They think that they're judging people.
Cause though. Like, do you have to work on a lot of inner work with people, like childhood trauma? Or no?
I would do, but like then there's some stuff that would be outside of my scope. That would be more like therapy, counselling route and stuff like that. But yeah, I would work on things, and a lot of the time, like, things do come from our childhood. Unfortunately, even from our parents and stuff. Even though our parents were trying, their very best with us, as they all do. But like everybody, they make mistakes. But yeah, so a lot of the time things can really come from childhood. But again, obviously I am mindful of things that are outside of a coaching perspective. They would be more on therapy. And I would always make that clear with my clients. But yeah.
It goes a long way back. Like, generational trauma is something that you can't really help with unless it's spiritual or deeply therapeutic, because that's what they're specialised in. It's like anything, everyone's specialised in something. And I think it's like, lean into your strengths, and lean into your strengths are normally the things that you love because you're good at them, and the ego will tell you that. But sometimes that's where you can go wrong as well, because the ego can be wrong too. And if you drop the ego and tap into your heart and your mind, third eye, everything like that, that's when you're like, shit, they're not really my strengths. That was like my weakness. It's holding me back in a way. Because you think you're connected with what you thought was strong. Because what does strong mean? Strong means power. Strong means winning. Strong means, but does strong mean happy?
That's the thing.
And that's something I had to look at. I'm like, is the independent boss CEO, I do love that. Like, you know what I said to you the other night? Like, it's true to that.
Yeah.
But
I'll never forget that.
But for me, I'm like, I want to be I'm working on my feminine side, and I want to be able to do that. And like, I think as well, my mindset is like super strong. But if anyone's like, obviously you guys are following the podcast a long time, like, would you have any questions or any points for me to ponder that might get the audience going, oh shit, you're gonna ask her something like that?
Maybe, is there a fear around letting go of control? What's your fear around letting go of control?
In what area of my life?
I suppose all areas of life. Like, okay, like even now, some context. Kira's flight is tomorrow at 11. And she's getting up at 5:30, going to shoot content, you know, jam-packing her day as she likes to do. Yeah, like, I suppose for you now, it's like, okay, if you don't go and, you know, film content in the morning, and you don't jam-pack your days with action all of the time, and you just, you know, leave things up to the universe, or, you know, leave the feminine, the nurture side take over, what's the fear there that makes you go, no, I can't do that? What's the fear there?
There is control. Like, there's control in every area of my life, and I love it. And I don't know why. I think I love being in control, because I know the actions and what it's going to do and where it's going to get me. So, like, I'm very passionate about my vision. I'm very passionate about the people that I feel like I'm leading, that if I step back and let go of control, well, then everything else might crumble a little bit as well. So there's a fear of, like, slowing down. Like, you know what I'm like. Yeah, like, I will jam pack tomorrow's schedule. Wouldn't be like me, like, at all. And then obviously the fear of letting go as well, of like, I'm a perfectionist as well, to a degree. I'm a realist as well, but I'm also a little bit of, I'm practical too. But control with everything, yeah, I need to work on that. Like, it's a fear.
Yeah.
It's a fear of slowing down. Like, you heard what I said. Like, I basically did not break up out of my old relationship because I didn't want to slow down business. This girl nearly fell off her chair on Saturday night. I honestly, and I said it without expression, didn't I?
I was like, that is the most Kira thing I've ever heard in my life. I was like, right, okay.
But I don't feel like I want to slow down right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm happy. I love what I do.
Yeah. And because I suppose there's something, I don't know if you ever heard of something, it's called like a manic manifester, where it's like, you know, somebody being like, okay, I need to be, because obviously, look, there's the masculine, the feminine, you know, the yin, the yang, you know, sun, moon, etc., etc. And obviously, like, the masculine energy is like the action base. It's linear results. You know, it's like boom, boom, boom. You know, goes out, gets the graft. You know, think of it like a maybe like a old school marriage. The man, if you've struggled to understand masculine energy versus feminine energy, think of like an old school marriage. You know, the man would go out, earn the money. You know, he'd be like, you know, control. You know, boom, 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 get everything done. Whereas, like, the woman then would stay at home, would nurture, would show them more of the softness, the love, da da da. That's like how I like to describe.
That's a good way to describe it.
Masculine energy versus feminine. So, like, with the manic manifesting, what this is like being too much in the masculine, not being like, you know what, if it's meant to be, it'll be.
I'm like that. I am like that as well. I've gotten so much better, but I am still quite masculine. And the reason I'm like that is because I'm still going through my healing journey, that I have my guard up a little bit as well sometimes. And like, I've got some issues as well from the past with like my dad and stuff, that like there are things that I'm like under, like I'm pulling back the layers all the time. And I'm like, okay, but deep down, like, I want to have a man that I can be with, or like myself, that I can let myself go and just be like, have a cry, like, let into your feminine. I can do that side of things. The emotional side of things, I can do, oh yeah, grand, no problem. I can have a cry, I can feel myself, I can like say goodbye to people and get upset, and like normally I'd be like, no, don't cry, and I'll put my hand up when I do need help. And that's something that I've gotten so much better at. In terms of letting go of control of everything else, probably not there yet. Still quite masculine.
And look, as a business owner and as a single woman living on her own, like, you need to have some bit. So it's not me saying like, let everything go and be airy fairy, you know, that way. Look, as business owners, we do have to, you know, step up, Jesus. But I suppose it's when things like, you know, like attachment, you know, that way, like not being like overly attached to things. I think that's a big problem that I see with, like, this is not you now, but just in general with people, like a sense of attachment, like, you know, so like even like maybe like someone's house, you know, that way, somebody, you know, someone comes in, maybe, you know, their friends over, the house is a mess, you know, they're like, oh my God, you know, over attachment to, you know, like organization or their routine or something like that. Obviously, we want to be organized. We want to do the things that are going to help us. But obviously, if we're overly attached to the thing, that's obviously then when problems can occur.
Yeah, I'm overly attached to business. Probably not a bad thing, because I do want to drive it. I want to be successful, but alpha female is very hard to find in alpha.
And you know what? 100%. That's the thing. Because look, you know, like,
where are you going to find a man that's going to put up with someone like me?
Yeah. Okay, no, we're not saying stuff like that now. I'm pointing out we're
not saying stuff like this right now. No, but I'm not saying like me. But I mean, like, I listened to a podcast the other day, and it was like an alpha female, or say an alpha female, or if you want to say, and I'm talking, it doesn't have to be someone that's really rich. It could be someone in business. It could be someone that's quite independent. They need a man, like a female needs a male that's going to challenge them. They need someone that they can feel safe with. They need someone that they can turn to, that like they're the guardian figure. That's what masculine is. When you're in your masculine, you need more masculinity, because then you can drop back and come home and feel safe. That's something that I think that I would possibly need, traits-wise and personality, in the next person that I'm with.
100%. Because that's the thing. Because even with the guy Tommy that I'm with now,
Go Tommy!
like he has like a really strong masculine energy, and that's something that, because again, as a business owner, I've struggled, you know, like with my own masculine energy and stuff, and having somebody like him to come in, it allows you to be, you know, more feminine. It's allowed me to actually, you know, as you say, let your guard down, you know, just be more of that feminine energy, which is so needed, like, you know, because I know even what we were talking about there a while ago, affirmations. I've had this one affirmation that I've said to myself for the last, I don't know, like I'd say 4 or 5 years. I just have one affirmation that I've always used, and it is, I am powerful. And for me, at the start of this year, I really wanted to get back into my feminine after just been so my masculine for so long. And I was like, I'm actually going to stop saying that affirmation.
What does it mean?
Because it was like, I was like really connected, like boom, you know, like action, go, masculine energy. And then I actually stopped saying that affirmation. And I got a Reiki session done with my friend not so long ago. And she was like, oh my God, you're actually quite balanced at the moment in terms of your masculine energy versus your feminine. And I've never gotten that before. And I actually do put that down to the affirmations that I've changed. And that's why I say, like, affirmations can be so powerful.
Be careful what you wish for, because it might just come true.
Exactly. So, like, honestly, I would say pick 2 to 3 affirmations, pick words that you'll use. Like, I'll never say to one of my clients, this is your affirmation, you know, because you have to pick your own affirmation, because you have to connect with the words you're saying. If I was to say to you now, right, your affirmation is, I am a fantastic lady. I don't know, that's probably not language that you'd use, and it's a bit of a weird affirmation to use anyway. But like, if that's not words you'll use, and you're sitting there going, I'm a fantastic lady, and you're like, I'm not connecting with these words, so you're never going to be able to connect with that, and you know, like, you're not going to be able to embody that, because it's not words you'd use. So pick your own affirmation. Pick an area of your life that you want to improve. Pick an affirmation connected to that. Start saying it. Pick only 2 to 3. Less is more when it comes to affirmations. Use them as much as you can. Bring them in through your senses. So think of, like, you know, see them places, so write them down. Your touch, you know, actually physically write them. Listen to affirmations playlist, say them out loud, you know, so use your 5 senses to bring them in, and then eventually they go into your subconscious. But yeah, honestly, affirmations are one of the most overlooked tools in personal development, in my opinion.
And that's why I don't share them on Instagram.
Yeah, and there you go.
They're personal. And you know what, I was actually getting emotional there.
Yeah?
Because I realised that, like, my affirmations that I wrote, like, when I started journaling again, like 6 months ago, were very strong. And I noticed I write the same thing every single day. And I write, I am healed. And I write, I am loved and I am beautiful. Because they were things that were taken from me when things went on. And I'm like, I am them things. And I took them away from myself because I didn't stay true to myself. And like, now when I look, like, yesterday's was like, let me just see. Let's find an example of what I was at the start, what way I wrote them.
I love this.
Yeah, that's the awaken butterfly. You've got it on your arm.
Lovely. Oh, there we go.
So
Butterfly's the sign of the day.
literally, so I'll give you an example, right? Like what you were saying, like I used to write very, like, I am powerful.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, no, you're not. I write every day, I am infinite abundance.
Love that. That's so weird. I was in my head, I was thinking I am abundant. That's so funny. Wow.
And I write all the time, I am the love of my life.
Love that.
Yeah. And then I always write in, where's another one? Won't read that one out. Jesus Christ. That was a bad one. I must have had a weird day. Very strange. Just be careful what you put down because they do come true.
They do, honestly, they do. Like, they genuinely do.
And you can visually, it's talking, they say talking it into existence, absolutely, but like you have to take action on talking shit into existence.
100%, 100%. That's the thing. Look, obviously, I'm a massive believer in manifestation. I know so many people are not, right? But with manifestation, like, there's two sides of the coin with it. There's the action, there's the belief. You know, like you have to take the action as long as I like to call it like aligned action or inspired action. So an action that, it's, of good faith and it's going to get you to what you want to get to. But then you also have to believe you are worthy of it. But above all else, you have to change the inner narrative. Like, you can't be, trying to manifest, like your dream partner, if you're not healed from your ex. Like, it's not going to happen,
No.
Like, you have to put in the groundwork in terms of actually healing yourself. And just a quick one as well with affirmations, like, if have seriously low levels of self-worth right now, right? If you are very low level of self-worth, and going from that to I am beautiful feels like a massive leap, because it probably will, right? Start off with something like middle ground,
I am happy, healthy.
Yeah, or even just something like, I have a body, or like I am learning to love myself. I am learning to accept myself, because if you're trying to go from self-loathing and low self-worth to I am beautiful, it's a bit of a jump, right? And we want to be fair to ourselves as well. Like, and if you're sitting there self-loathing and saying these affirmations, it's going to be very hard for you to, again, connect with those words, and you need to connect with what you're saying. So start with, I am learning. Use like words that like symbolize a journey, I am learning to, I am on the way to, I'm in the process of, etc., etc. Your own words, pick your own words, use like a journey, and it'll help massively.
Definitely. It's always the small baby steps. You can't jump because you won't get there. You'll just sink and fall. It's like if you do the small little things, then you'll get to one day and you'll talk to yourself without even thinking of like that bigger thing. I'd love for you to share like who are the types of clients that you work with, and like what would their struggles be, because maybe someone's listening and is like, shit, I need help with that.
Yeah. With like my own clients, predominantly anxiety is a massive thing. Anxiety, look, unfortunately, it's so common these days. Social media has a lot to blame with this, but also as well, people have kind of like lost like a sense of faith, I think. Like obviously religion was huge, years ago. So many people had a faith, and then these days people don't really have that much of a faith. So anxiety has really, come up as a result of that, because I suppose if you don't have a faith that, things are going to be okay, and if you're having doubts, your anxiety is going to be, heightened a lot. So anxiety is something that like people that are struggling with anxiety is what I focus with a lot. A lot of low self-esteem, low confidence, low self-worth, people healing from relationships. But then a lot of like business owners as well, people wanting to really, okay, if I want to get to X, Y, and Z, who do I need to become in order to get there? So like we can't, have the, reach the goals unless we've healed from X, Y, or Z in our past, So
self-discovery.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
And if you're unsure about where to start, you know where to go.
That's the thing.
You need help. And there's not, you can
100%,
listen to all the podcasts and everything, but like you physically sometimes need someone. It's like a coach with someone with food. Like you need guidance and you need help. And it's like how important self-investment is like watch that amount of like whatever if it's an investment, if it's money that's going to leave your account and leave you, might feel like shit, like I haven't got that right now. Like you're going to tell yourself everything you want to hear in the world, But think about how much that's going to come back to you, whether it's not physically and money, that's going to come back to you abundantly in so many ways, which will result in so much more money, which will result in so many other things, which results in more self-esteem, more confidence, and a better you. So it's like everyone's looking for the magic pill, but it's like you are the magic pill.
Literally, yeah.
The blockages and everything that is going on in your life, look at someone on the outside, and the majority of people, when you look at them from the outside, is something that's going on the inside.
100%. And it's just like, look, if nothing changes in your life, nothing is going to change in your life. Like, your life is not going to change, you know?
For sure.
And like, if you're sitting there and like, I want you to think about like this exact date in 1 year's time, and if everything looked the exact same, if you are really happy when you think of that, great, like that's amazing. But if you are not, if you go, fuck, and or if you're nearly in denial that, oh, it'll change, will it change? Like, literally call yourself out here on your own shit. Like, literally call yourself out. Are things going to change if you continue on the way they are, right? And if things haven't gotten better with what you're doing so far, what makes you think that they're going to get better if you continue doing the same things? You know,
how many times are you going to say, I'll do it now, or I'll try, or I'll do it by myself? Like, you've proven to yourself over 20 or more years that you cannot do it by yourself.
That's it.
If you're over the age of 21 and you prove to yourself, I cannot do this by myself, it's like, get help, because it's like everyone is here to serve and do their job and have purpose on this planet, including anyone that's listening. If you're not an entrepreneur, if you're not a leader, if you're not in a business, if you've got a job that you work for someone or you're part of a team, we've all got purpose and we've all got reason. And I think it's a little bit, I think the ego and the mind gets in the way. It's so strong that you don't really need to work on yourself. Why would you want to change? I'm happy with the way I am. The people that say they're happy with the way they are and they're complacent are the people that are not, by the way. So before you look at someone else and say, they're actually really happy, they always say it, they're probably not. And there's always something that's like sugarcoating why they're saying it, because you don't say it if you are. You just are.
exactly.
You just are. You don't need to tell people, this is how I am, this is what I'm making, this is what I'm feeling. It's like, I just am. When you just are, and you just are who you are, you're your true, authentic self, it's like that is like bing, and you want more of it, and you want more of it, and you keep pulling back more layers on yourself. You start going deeper on your mindset. You start wanting more from life, and don't feel guilty for wanting better for yourself too. That's so important.
It's so, and again, that's, I feel like all I'm doing is slating Irish people. I'm Irish, obviously, but like, I feel like all I'm doing.
No, we're not. But there is a big. It is.
Of like, who do you think you are?
Or why would you want to change?
Yeah, or like, come here, like, you've made your bed, now to lie in it. So like, you've gone to, so like, you've gone to college now, and that thing, it's called like sunk cost fallacy, where it's like, okay, I've already been in the relationship for 5 years, I might as well stay with them. You know, I've been in this job now, I've gone to college, I might as well just do it. You know, and it's like, no. Like,
do what you want.
Like, I'm 35 years old.
Young.
Like, I started coaching when I was 30. I left my day job when I was 31. Like, I only left Ireland and started moving around the world when I was 31. Like, you know what I mean?
That.
Like, I only started doing that. Like people listening to this, if you're in your early 20s, honestly, you have so much opportunities. Fucking take them.
Yeah, go
like,
explore.
Genuinely take them.
Explore, and it's
exactly.
not just exploring places, it's explore yourself.
Exactly.
Explore your mind. And it's scary because you're like, you're going to probably leave a few people behind. You might change career, but what does that mean? That means like, I need to let go of this, and then like, what if I'm saving for more? I don't really want to do that. Like, there's a lot that's going to come up, but like, this is the point. That's when you know you're growing, when things start getting a little bit wobbly.
Yeah.
And you're changing. That's when like it's going push or pull. What way are you going to go? It's
exactly.
like, you're going to go the new direction, or keep going around in circles all you want. No one's going to stop you, by the way. Keep doing that, but are you truly happy?
That's it.
I don't know. The answer is up to you, and we're not here to sit here and point fingers and say you need to sign up with us, and you need to do mindset, and you need to get a diet, and you need to. These episodes are to inspire people. It's for us to listen back and go, remember we said that, right? Well, if we're saying it, we don't speak like that, because why would we? Because that's hypocritical if we're like saying I can't do that, or no, we can actually. We just choose not to. So it's like, we get the choice of, your mind and your ego is like the strongest thing ever. Like, breaking the ego down and breaking the mind to get to the heart it's like a journey. And I've been doing a lot of this work, and I've noticed it as well. Like plant medicine is obviously something that I've been talking about in a few episodes.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm gonna do next.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for
like
it.
mushrooms, honestly.
I'm gonna do ayahuasca.
Great. Are you? I
I'm
don't know
gonna
if
go to Costa Rica. It's
Yeah?
meant to be deep.
I'm like, I
but
don't know
want
if I'd
it.
ever, don't know if I'd ever be ready for ayahuasca. I'm like I've done other
Don't say that.
psychedelics. Who knows? Who knows? I'll never say never. I'll never say never to anything. But I'm like, I don't know if I ever would be. I'm like,
I never done any psychedelics.
Did you not?
And I'm going straight to ayahuasca.
Yeah. No, I've done mushrooms. I've done rapey. But they were great for me healing from a breakup, and I also had a quite a bad crash when I lived in Bali as well. Very much helped me with that. Really that really knocked me. They were brilliant, brilliant. And I would say, look, if you are gonna, go down the psychedelic route, go with somebody, who has experience in it, because look, it can be a little bit, nerve-wracking and stuff. Setting matters hugely. So,
Yeah.
I'm obviously not a professional on this, but, who you're with
that's a
and
big
the
one.
amount you take as well.
And I do think don't look for a substance and something externally to try and fix what's going on internally. Try it with your mind and try it with your real self first. And then it's like, when you try it with yourself first, you start knowing yourself more, and then you get a little bit deeper. And like the only way to like true essence, I do think, back to yourself is like complete letting go in the subconscious, which is probably plant medicine.
Yeah.
But that's like on your journey, like way down the line. Like I still don't know if I'm ready for that yet.
Yeah.
I'll see. But I feel like they always say, like, when you're called, you're called. And like spirituality, energy, your mind, how you speak to yourself, how you show up every day, like it affects every single area of your life. And this is why we do podcasts like this, because it's to inspire, it's to really get your imagination going, it's maybe to listen back and screenshot some moments that you're like, shit, maybe I'm going to take on the notes it's always after saying there. Maybe I'm going to reach out and send a message on Instagram, because you know what, this feels right, this feels aligned. And like some people listening might not align with me as a coach, they might not align with Fit Coach Rossi, some people might not align with you. But if you do feel called and you do feel like what they're saying, I feel that, like, reach out and chat, because like we were always there to pop a message back, so I absolutely love this. It's kind of got my mind going as well over like how far we've come. And like we were in totally different positions this time last year, both in Dubai, both living out of a little bit of scarcity, and like, are we happy here pretending, trying to sugarcoat it on the beach with like the coffees and the just really not being ourselves.
No.
So lost as well.
Yeah.
Empty.
100%.
And
Yeah.
when you start feeling
Just
back
like
up,
nothingness. And I think that's one of your big telltale signs, nothingness, when you're like,
soulless.
yeah,
Don't really feel much.
yeah.
Not even emotions. That's when it's like, am I really happy? Or like you go through, I'm really happy one day, and then you're really not. Like, and you're not going to be like that every single day, but like there is like, I think when you're soul searching and you can't find it, it's like, are you in the right place? Are you with the
100%,
right
yeah.
people? So I absolutely love this podcast. Like, that was like really good. I'm buzzing to like do a few journaling
Yeah, yeah,
this
100%
this week. And thank you for coming on.
No
and
worries.
guys, if you've any questions, as always, like, please share, please tag us. It means a lot when you get feedback from everyone and they're letting you know how it impacted them. So please just tag us. I'll leave Zoe's Instagram below if you've any questions at all, or if you want to privately message her. She's always open to questions as well. But thank you so much for joining in on this episode. I hope that you took so much from it, lots of key nuggets, and I will see you on the next one. But thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.